Like something I think we're gonna see and something I wish but don't think we're gonna see, basically.
Yeah.
Like, okay.
Let's do it.
I think we're gonna see. I think we're gonna see Elden. Is it Elden Ring? Is that the name of it? The
Ring.
the next
Elden Ring.
FromSoft project. I think we're gonna see something from that. I'm really hoping for that as well. But I think we'll see another peek at that one, since it's been a while since we've seen that. My out of this world prediction that I don't think we're gonna see is I would love to see a Spider-Man 2 like announcement or something, Marvel Spider-Man 2, something like that, whether it be an announcement for that or like an announcement for some gigantic DLC for the original Spider-Man. I personally don't think we're seeing it, but that would be my like top. I would love to see that happen.
All right, Brian, what about you? Just a realistic.
Realistic? Yeah, Elden Ring was my pick too. I think we might also maybe see like a tease for the next God of War. I think is a pretty safe bet. I'm not sure about that, but I feel like it's been a while now since they came out, so I'm sure they might be might have some sights set on that for PS5. My out of this world thing, I mean, we all know it's not coming. You know, Respawn has said it's not coming, but like, it'd be cool to see Titanfall 3. I don't know. You know. Not gonna happen, but that would be like that would be my dream, you know. So yeah.
I have my own, but I'll read the donations real quick. We got the Wins Man with $10. Loeb, you're doing what you're doing. Love what you're doing. Inspiring a generation. The French Tuck with $20. Protocol for Cooper. Dash. Hi, Brio. Hi. Monkey Dog with $50. It's my birthday today. Also, hooray for a good boy. House Redfoot with $10. A human's concept of love requires admiration, attraction, devotion, and respect. Conclusion: we are 100% in love with Brian Otto. What a great run.
That's so cute. That's a line from dialogue, or that's a dialogue from Titanfall 2, actually. And House Redfoot's the name of my stream community, so that's really cute. Thank you.
We got Matthew Adler with $20, 14K hype. We got Eric with $10. Yeah, we're like literally like that. We got Jojo Game Reveal with $5. Diego C with $10. Keep being the heroes of today. Kirby C with $20. Platinum Game Devs with $1. New JoJo game coming to Stadia. All of that. Yappy Door with $1. Okay. So my what I think will happen at the PlayStation conference is I think we're gonna see the console. I know it's supposed to be like gameplay driven, but I think that they're gonna surprise us with the console.
Do you think it's gonna be a render of the console or like the actual box? Like
14K, let's go!
Yes.
Well done. Well done. I give Snoop Boop for that.
Oh, that's so exciting.
That's amazing.
Someone's name is I ate too much salt. His note was, dang, I ate too much salsa. It happens to the best of us. My out of this world prediction, but when I think about it, I don't know how out of this world it is that we're going to see Horizon Zero Dawn. I love Horizon Zero Dawn. Guys, cool. We are just getting a ton more donations. Bring her. If we're doing the animals thing, this is Emily. There she is.
Let me see.
More pets.
Here she is.
Aw, Emily is her name?
Yeah, her name's Emily.
That's
She's 14 years old. 13, 14, I don't know. She was a rescue.
I sadly do not have a pet to
guys, we just got some nuts more donation. From Black Lives Matter, $250. Cash bail's an outdated system and harms all community. It's time to get rid of it. Terry Schwartz with $50. Love you, Mark. Aw, thanks, Terry. Great job, team. And then we got Kenneth with $100. Less mass incarceration and more IGN. So we're at 14,429. I don't want this stream to end. It's so good.
Mark, I want to say when he went like, "Aw," it was perfectly timed with the Mario thing. He had like the exact same expression. It was great. It was great.
It was so good.
That's perfect. That's one of my coworkers. So I was like, guys, real quick, we are almost out of time. Brian Otto, where can we find you after we have to leave this stream?
Oh yeah, right down below. I stream speedruns, especially Titanfall stuff, pretty much every day, almost. I've been doing speedrun content for a long time. If you want to see more of my stuff, I've done quite a few runs at GDQ, so if you just search like Brianato GDQ, you can watch any of my runs there. I'd love to see you guys in my stream. Again, that's twitch.tv/Brianato. Yeah, that's my plug. That's what I got. Oh, one more plug if I can.
Oh, no, go for it.
If you want to speedrun Titanfall 2, go to speedrun.com/Titanfall_2. You can find a link to our Discord there. We have so many resources to get started, and like anybody can get into it. It was my first speed game. It could be your first speed game. It's really dope. It's a very good run.
It looks really fun. Thank you for stopping by, guys. If you like our Devs React series, Brianato is he's one of the people that kicked it off. I think you were like the second one with Control. So go watch that because that video is awesome.
A good video. Yeah.
Like J Hobbs.
That's one of my favorite ones. No bias. Yeah.
J Hobbs, where can we find you?
I'm at twitch.tv/jhobbs296 or on Twitter, J_Hobbs. Also, don't forget, everybody, that if you enjoyed all of this, we raise money multiple times throughout the year for Games Done Quick. So Summer Games Done Quick is moving online this year. SGDQ online is in August. I'm definitely not stalling for time to remember the dates. It's August 16th to the 23rd. Please check that out. GamesDoneQuick.com for more information there. And also, you can catch me here tomorrow, 12:45 p.m. Pacific, because we're going to be right back here doing the same thing. It's going to be fun.
Yeah, we are. Yeah, we'll be doing We're doing Bloodborne with Jesus Here's Toast, so make sure to show up for that. Guys, this stream has been amazing. Give me the camera. Here I am. Guys, don't forget that all summer of gaming long no, I'm reading the wrong thing. I'm like out of it. I literally can't believe what we've done. All right, guys, we're mere moments away from IGN Expo Day 2. Even more exclusive trailers, new gameplay, and interviews with some incredible developers. And as for our charities, we've raised a collective total of $14,673 so far for the World Health Organization and the Bail Project. The Bail Project works to restore the presumption of innocence and reunite families separated by mass incarceration. The COVID-19 Response Fund responds to COVID-19. You know, we're trying to stop it. Both very worthy causes, so keep the donations coming in. And we'll be back tomorrow with Jesus Here's Toast with Bloodborne. For extra Summer of Gaming goodness, download the TikTok app, follow IGN, and search for IGN Summer of Gaming hashtag to watch along with live events and submit your own Summer of Gaming moments, reactions, and plays. Also, don't forget to leave us a Yap video comment on IGN.com, and it could wind up on today's episode of News, Games, and More. Guys, that's going to do it for me. Thank you all for everything you guys have done. I will see you tomorrow, but for now, get ready because IGN Expo Day 2 starts right now. Yes.
Welcome back to IGN's Summer of Gaming. It's a multi-day streaming extravaganza packed with brand new trailers, next-gen reveals, exclusive announcements, and never-before-seen gameplay. Exclusively here on IGN. In just moments, IGN's own Summer of Gaming Expo Day 2 kicks off, where we'll be showing off tons of brand new games and speaking with the people behind them, like Samurai Jack creator Gendy Tartakovsky, who's bringing world premiere gameplay from Samurai Jack Battle Through Time. But we can't spoil all the surprises in this intro. Prepare yourself, because for the next few hours, you won't want to miss a beat. IGN's Summer of Gaming Expo number 2 starts right now.
Can't remember a thing.
Hey! I've got him!
It's payback time!
I see him! Over there!
Well, well.
Can't you see? Don't you know what I am? I'm a man with a plan, and it's time you understand.
Get him!
Yeah, goddamn, man, I make it look easy. I make it seem
can't get away.
I can make it look easy, yeah.
We better create a diversion.
I get it what you say. It's all just noise to me.
Bad place to be.
I've been working so hard,
This is not good. I've fallen into my own trap. Alert! Jones, do you read me?
Use the scope. I'll cover you. Come on!
Alpha 2 to Burger. Suspicious individuals.
Who am I?
All agents alert. Get ready. He's on his way.
Hey! IGN Summer of Gaming has just begun, but you probably already knew that because we've been promoting this since April. I'm one of your hosts, Cindy Goodman, and joining me are Up at Noons, Max Scoville, and Brian Altano.
Hey, Sid. Normally in June, we would come to you live from a big studio down the street from a massive trade show to check out brand new video games for a whole week straight. But this year, we are doing things a little bit differently. And instead of just 1 week, we are bringing you multiple weeks of completely ballooned out, overstacked gaming coverage, which is good for you. And I don't know if that's great for our mental health, but we'll make do.
We'll make it work. We'll be carrying all the big video game announcement streams being dropped by all your favorite publishers and studios, so you can get all your info, IGN and otherwise, in one place, which is right here. And we're doing it for a good cause, too. Throughout our Summer of Gaming, we're hosting a slew of gaming events for charity. You might have caught the Titanfall 2 speedrun before we started. We're doing one of those each day before our coverage kicks off to raise money for the World Health Organization and the Bail Project. Later on today, we'll have special Summer of Gaming episodes of our regular series and potentially even more important Sony State of Play showcase, which was widely expected to be the first reveal of the actual PlayStation 5, potentially even the box itself, which we haven't seen, despite talking about it for years now.
You know, I think if they hype that up and show PS4 games, people will be pissed. Anyway, on Tuesday, June 16th, we'll be getting an intimate look at some celebrity homes and Animal Crossing islands as these celebrities take us on virtual tours on stream to raise money in support of the COVID-19 response fund and to reunite families separated by mass incarceration. You can donate at donate.ign.com or by following the links in the video description. Make sure you check in all month long for nonstop gaming news. And if you're watching from your living room, you can even watch it all on channel IGN1 on your Samsung TV Plus.
Check out the full schedule at IGN.com. You can also follow IGN on the TikTok app. Search for IGN's Summer of Gaming hashtag to unlock a bunch of bonus content and to upload your very own awesome gameplay clips. Anyway, enough delightful talk from three gorgeous professional presenters. I think very highly of us.
Disagree.
Oh, that we're not gorgeous or that it's not enough talk from us?
I think it's the word professional, really. That's the one that I get hung up on that. Look at this. Look at this nonsense.
Fair enough.
Both of you are wildly unprofessional, and that's why I'm very excited to work with you. All right, it's time to get things kicked off with a bang. A fresh stack of brand new game trailers only here as part of IGN EXPO Day 2, deep in the heart of the summer of gaming. That sounded threatening, but it's going to be really fun. Roll it.
My name is Evan Capnose. My identity has been foreclosed.
You are in a stalemate, Mr. Capnose. Until the auctioning, your ID is going to be suspended.
The implants we get at birth are state property. Corporations buy the ID debt from the state. Your implants are not exactly compliant.
They took everything from me, but they left me with nothing to lose.
Have a nice day, Mr. Kapnos.
Tells of a place where everyone comes together to play and dance and race and shoot and jump and fly with jetpacks or maybe bat wings. And there's lava and a mountain made of junk food where you can create your own worlds and have your own adventures where you are in charge, where you can make your very own games with your very own rules, and all your friends can come and play. Like this one here. Yep, them too. And I don't know what that dude is, but he is cool. What? They're all toys come to life, and I can actually play with them and own them all. That's f***ing sweet. But you see, this place isn't a legend at all. It's a party. Let's party.
Oh, hey, check out spellbreak.com/IGN to get a free exclusive in-game skin. Coming up later in the expo, we've got tons of never-before-seen trailers and interviews with the developers of some of the hottest upcoming titles. But right now, it's samurai time! Samurai! Cartoon lovers should be no stranger to Samurai Jack, the time-traveling swordsman whose long-running cartoon adventures came to an end in 2017. Well, now he's back in video game form. We got a chance to talk about it with Samurai Jack creator Gendy Tartakovsky. Max, take it away. Samurai!
Samurai Jack's animated adventures came to a grand finale in 2017, but now this time-traveling samurai is back in Samurai Jack Battle Through Time, a brand new original video game. Here to tell us about it, I'm joined by Samurai Jack's creator and animation legend, Gendy Tartakovsky.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Well, thanks for making a bunch of amazing cartoons that have clearly inspired my own personal laboratory. Let's talk about Samurai Jack. This is a brand new story. It's by Derek Bachman. It takes place within the sort of Samurai Jack timeline, but walk us through exactly sort of where and when, aside from through time, this is taking place.
Well, I think it kind of picks up right where we were finishing the last season, the finale of the whole thing. And it starts, we created a new mythology where it kind of starts as an alternate timeline, and Aku sends Jack through that timeline, and now, of course, Jack has to fight his way back and defeat Aku. But this time, the adventures are kind of similar, fresher, because for the first time, you actually get to control Jack and really fight all those amazing villains and henchmen and have the friends along the way that we've experienced through watching the show.
Now, this is the first Samurai Jack game in 16 years. There was the PS2 game that came out in 2004. Can you sort of talk about sort of the difference in perception of not just Samurai Jack, but kind of video games in general? It feels like it's you're under the Adult Swim mantle this time around. Which, does that give you any more sort of leeway?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, 16 years ago, it was video games were, especially for licensed characters, for a kids' TV show, so to speak. You kind of get the B-class treatment, right? You just kind of go into whatever engine they have. They do some new graphics, but generally it's not great. And they were doing it while I was in production on the show, so it's hard for me to be super involved. And because it takes a commitment and a love to do this right, even for video games, for a TV show, for anything. And so it kind of came out and it kind of lacked what we all thought a video game could be. And then now, fast forward here, the show is more popular. The show has existed for 16 years more, and people have really gone to love it. And there's a more of respect towards it. So the new game is a lot more of what we wanted it back then, and even more. So it's completely different from my point of view, from what it was to how far it's come now.
Very cool. Well, let's talk about the gameplay a little bit here. Obviously, we're going to see lots of sword swinging action because he's a samurai after all. But we also got sort of a pole arm here with some magic coming out of it. We got a shot of him in the trailer with some heavy firepower. Can you tell us about the combat a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's inspired by of course the normal samurai stuff, the classic, but just like in the show, Jack's able to use a lot of what's around him to be inventive, and I think there's some stuff where he actually uses one of the Ku drone's arms, and he slashes with it. There's a bow and arrow, I think, and so there's a lot of variation. There's a trident like we see here, and also taking cue from when Jack was lost in the last finale season. He also uses some guns and stuff where we never would have him use a gun in the first few seasons. But a lot of the locales are totally inspired by what we did in the show. And so it's kind of great because if you're a fan of the show, you'll recognize the environments instantly, and you can kind of look forward to some of the villains from that. environment. At the same time, we've also swapped some other villains to come in all the different various environments.
Nice. And you've also got some familiar returning characters as well, I hear.
Yes, of course. I mean, you could never do it without the Scotsman, and here, of course, is Demongo, who's one of the fan favorites, has been. And what's also fantastic is we were able to use the original voice cast, right? I mean, besides Mako, of course, who passed away. But yeah, so there's an authenticity to it that I think is sometimes, you don't get in other games based on properties.
This is awesome. Now, something I'm really curious about, this is developed by Soleil, which is a studio based out of Japan. Obviously, Samurai Jack is a Western cartoon heavily influenced by Japanese media and culture, and now you've got a Japanese team developing a game based on that. Can you talk a little bit about that relationship?
It's been really good. I mean, I think for whenever you do these things, it's always great if there's a fondness and appreciation from the team that's actually going to be doing all the work. If it's just all about money and they feel like they could take advantage of the name of the property, then it becomes kind of, they don't understand the essence of it. But I know, like Derek, who wrote this, he traveled to Japan and he met with them and he walked into their offices and they had Samurai Jack posters and they were asking about me, so they were appreciative of it. And doing even I remember back then when I first started the show and it actually started to air in Japan, I was really worried. I'm like, oh no, they found out I'm a fake. They'll see through everything I've done. No matter how much of a whatever fan or appreciation that I had of Japanese culture and especially the samurai code and culture, they would still know that I'm a phony. But so I remember I was at the studio once and we had some visitors from Japan, some of these cable operators, they were just businessmen. And this is years ago. And they came into my office and I was introduced to them and Samurai Jack just started airing on their cable network. And they were like, you got it right. You did a really good job. We love the show and it feels sincere. And that was the biggest compliment I could ever get. That it worked in Japan.
So cool.
It didn't. I didn't embarrass their culture or appropriate it or whatever. All that kind of stuff.
I love that. So now, obviously, like Samurai Jack has been around for almost 20 years, and people who maybe were watching Samurai Jack as kids they're now adults and they're out making video games and stuff. Have you sort of had any encounters with people working on the game who fanboy out and get completely overwhelmed by it, or is it?
A little bit, like it's more about in general. I think like you said, it's been around for so long. It's been able to influence a lot of artists going into video games and animation in general. And so when I go to conventions and all that kind of stuff, and I meet these people, when I was influenced by Bugs Bunny cartoons and Popeye and some Disney stuff. Tex Avery, and of course, by the time I got into the industry, most of them were all gone, if not all of them. And so I was never really able to meet any of the people who inspired me to go into animation. And now it's been pretty incredible. When I go to conventions, I meet the people who say, well, yeah, I got into the industry because of Samurai Jack. Or I love to draw because of Samurai Jack and all this stuff. And it's beyond comprehension that something like this can, affect people and really show them the direction in their life, which is so, it's such a huge honor to inspire anybody, really.
That's phenomenal. That's really cool to hear. Now, I have to ask, you mentioned it very briefly there, Popeye. Do you have any word on the Popeye movie that I heard you were working on at one point?
No comment on any of that stuff, so.
Fair enough. I had to ask, though.
No worries.
Fingers crossed. Thank you so much, Gandhi. This was a huge pleasure. I am looking forward to checking out Samurai Jack Battle Through Time later this year.
Welcome back to check out this game on IGN's Summer of Gaming, highlighting exciting, under-the-radar games worth your time. Strategy RPG Star Renegades has without a doubt one of the coolest looking pixel art styles I've seen in a long time, but it backs that look up with an exciting time-based combat system as well. Take a look at some exclusive new gameplay. Like what you see? Then head on over to IGN.com or YouTube.com/IGN to watch the full extended version of this gameplay.
That was the wonderful Tom Marks with some inside info on Star Renegades. If you like Tom, I have great news because he will be right back to tell us all about Iron Oath along with one of the game's developers. But first, a little tiny break. Stay tuned.
IGN Summer of Gaming is brought to you by Fuser, who'll be partying with us all summer long.
The next generation of video gaming is on the horizon, and IGN is here to bring you the latest PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X news and analysis in our new weekly show, Next Gen Console Watch 2020. We'll bring on the experts to discuss and analyze all the latest developments around these new consoles. From frame rates, services, features, peripherals, and even all the new tech jargon, Next Gen Console Watch 2020 will keep you up to speed on everything leading up to the next generation of gaming. Join us every Friday for a new episode.
Not only is IGN the world's biggest media brand for games and entertainment, but we also have a team of some of the world's biggest fans of your favorite franchises. From breaking news and exclusives, never-before-seen looks at movies and games, to reviews, let's plays, and live streams, IGN brings you all the coverage you need, no matter where you are. IGN, the #1 source for all games and entertainment fans worldwide.
Everybody loves watching a speedrun of their favorite game. But what if you got the opportunity to peek into the minds of the developers while they watch their games getting completely wrecked? That's exactly what happens in every episode of Game Devs React to speedruns.
Yeah, you can do that. Oh my god!
We invite you to ride along with the developers as they react to, question, and enjoy some of the most skilled players exploiting and speeding through a game it took years of their life to create. Join us every Saturday for a new episode.
Hey there! Do you have opinions on games, movies, TV, or other weird stuff on the internet? You can take part in our new show, Power Ranking, where you can vote on all your favorite things on the internet. Do it now! Do it! Just go! Vote! Go vote!
News, Games, and More is IGN's live news show every day of the week that covers all the day's news about games, movies, comics, and of course more. This is our daily live show that takes a rotating cast of IGN talent, going over all the latest news of the day while taking live questions and comments from chat. We're live every Monday through Friday at 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern. See you there.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to IGN's Summer of Gaming. My name is Tom Marks, and I'm joined today by Chris Wingard and Nick Mueller, who's a little bit static today, of Curious Panda Games. How are you guys doing?
Great. Doing very good. How about you?
Good. Thank you so much for joining me. We're here to talk about your game, The Iron Oath. So just to set it up, tell me a bit about the game. What is the Iron Oath?
I think, like, at its core, the game is about taking a mercenary company and just like living the life of a mercenary, like owning your own mercenary guild and managing all of that. That's sort of like the main thing that you'll be doing.
And that's through, as we're seeing here, pull up, tactics-based, kind of hex-based gameplay, right? It's a turn-based tactics game at its core as well.
Right. Yeah. So you're managing your guild, and then you take them on missions, and then the combat plays out on a hex grid.
And one of the things I wanted to touch on too is you guys started out on Kickstarter, I believe.
Yeah.
How long?
2017.
2017. So you've gone on long, like 3 years now. How has kind of that journey been?
It's been longer than we wanted it to, but we've made a lot of improvements to the game, and we've come a long way, and we're really happy with the state that it's in and where it's going, and really excited for people to get their hands on it, hopefully soon.
Well, since we're seeing it right now, since we're seeing the combat, let's talk about that first. There's a lot of different flavors of turn-based tactics and hex-based stuff and all that sort of goodness. What kind of sets the Iron Oath apart? What did you want out of the combat? What's important to you? And what are players basically going to be thinking about? Like, what do you want them to think about while they're fighting?
You want to tackle that, Chris, or want me to?
Yeah, you can jump in.
Yeah, so we really wanted, firstly, our hero design. We really wanted them to be pretty diverse and not, I guess, a bit different than your stereotypical classes that you'd normally encounter in an RPG, like a guy who's just a tank and a typical mage who has ranged abilities sitting in the back. So we kind of that's our main focus, just having powerful characters who are unique, and then just like the Pyrolancer, for example, that's a guy with black armor and the lance. He's a melee fire mage, so he's an example of that. And basically, we really just wanted to. Sorry.
I was just saying, initially he was just a guy that stood in the back throwing fireballs, and we decided, that'd be kind of boring if we just completely took the tropes of every RPG and instead decided to give a little bit of a twist on all of them. So instead of just standing back and throwing fireballs, he gets up and close and deals fire damage like that.
And that was one thing I was noticing watching this gameplay as well, is it seems like positioning is really, really important here. We already saw it a little bit earlier, but one character placed a little fire sigil, and then another character knocked them into that, which then knocked that person farther away.
Yeah, exactly. There's a lot of synergies between abilities. Like the Pyrolancer places down that hex, and then there's a lot of abilities that can push or can pull, and so you gotta try to plan ahead and take that into account when you're trying to manipulate your positioning around the enemies and all that.
Yeah, and there's a lot of environmental hazards too. Just then he was standing on the little glowing hex, and that one, if you're standing on it, you can't use certain abilities. So you have to really plan out where you're going to go. And that was created by one of the enemies attacking. It spawned that beneath him, so you have to move around. But then also you have to really think about where you're going to move to, because like Dungeons and Dragons, there's attack of opportunities. So if you get close to someone and then move away, they're going to get a free hit against you. So you can't just move off of that hex. You have to really think about what you're going to do. Is it worth taking the damage from the movement?
Yeah, it's funny. I feel like attack of opportunities is something that I would think I've seen more of that in tactics games, but it feels like this is one of the first I've actually seen lean into that idea.
Yeah, we really wanted to lean into that, and then also have ways around it. It's not gonna one of the problems that we thought we might run into is just characters would funnel to a point, and then they would just trade blows, and then it's done. So, but to counteract that, we have a lot of characters with mobility. So instead of just running into a place, the Valkyrie is a class that she can fly several hexes across. So if she needs to get out of somewhere, she can use that to make a whole lot of distance. And then we have other abilities that can knock back, and then that allows you to walk away without getting hit with the attack of opportunities. There's environmental hazards, in a later part there's grass on the ground, and if you're standing in the grass, you can freely move through that and not get hit with an attack of opportunity.
and now we're seeing an overworld map screen. Can we talk about? Tell me a little bit about this world and kind of the outside of combat, but this part of it. You're walking between towns. You're taking on missions as part of this mercenary company, right?
Yeah, this is where you'll be doing like half of the game. Half of the game is kind of in these dungeons doing combat. And the other half is where you're actually managing your guild and exploring the world. And like just then, what happened was it was moving to a town, and there was like a dynamic event that happened that said that you've encountered these this person that looks like they're in trouble, and you could choose to help them or not help them. So that's where like a lot of the events will come about, is from these just dynamic encounters that come about as you're exploring the world, or dungeons. Like you might run across other events mid-dungeon that are unrelated to the quest you're currently tackling.
Yeah, there's a lot of like text-based encounters. That's part of the inspiration is from D&D in that aspect. It's just, little choose-your-own-adventure type things while you're on a mission. It's not necessarily part of that mission, but it's just something you can choose to do or not do.
And that's also what I feel like what a lot of Dungeons and Dragons campaigns end up becoming, or are from the outset, is essentially a band of mercenaries just running around taking jobs.
Right.
Yeah. I was also a big fan of like Berserk, like the Band of the Hawk, the manga, and I always thought that would be like really fun to really like play out a scenario like that.
And we mentioned Valkyrie, which is now we're actually seeing in this fight as a class, but the characters specifically, are these randomized characters that kind of get assigned a class? Are they set characters that you'll meet out in the world? How does that sort of aspect of it work?
So they're each class, you recruit them, and they age, they retire, or they die in combat, and then you'll eventually have to replace them by recruiting new people. So the classes themselves, there's 8 classes that we'll be launching with, and they're not tied to a person. The person is dynamically generated whenever you need to recruit someone. And yeah, you just recruit them, you train them up. They have traits, they have personality traits, and there's different skills that you can level up within. They have like their abilities, and you can level up those abilities with different skills to try and augment them.
The characters can also be customized a little bit too. You can tweak the colors, also the portraits in the top left. Those can all be changed, so you can like give people different hair or hair colors, or different eye color, things like that.
I know one of the things you guys mentioned before we spoke here was the inspirations of kind of Darkest Dungeon and that coming into it, and you mentioned aging, and that sort of reminds me of that these characters are they're finite to a certain extent. You're not going to take one person all the way from the beginning of the game to the end of the game necessarily.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah. Everything you do in the game kind of like costs time, essentially. Like when you're traveling around the world, it takes time. It might take time for characters to heal. Like they can be injured. Like right now on the top left, you'll see there's little icons that show that he's got like an arm injury, a leg injury. And those things take time to heal, and different injuries take longer. Like if you get a light laceration, he might be ready for combat in a week. But if someone gets like a broken leg, they might be out for a couple months. So you have to make sure you have like a nice rotation of characters that you can bring in and out of combat.
Is there a base building management sort of aspect to it? Like how much is that actual management side of things? How deep does that go?
You definitely have to manage. Sorry.
No, it's all right. You jump in there.
All right, sure. So you have to manage, the recruitment, obviously, first and foremost, and that was just a violent death right there that just occurred. And so you manage the recruitment aspect, and then you manage when you're recruiting someone, you have to manage the contracts. So the contracts kind of work like sports contracts, basically. So you sign someone, and they'll be with you for 5 years at a certain amount of gold per year. And then once that's up, you got to renegotiate a new contract. And then aside from that, you also have to kind of manage each individual's happiness a little bit. So if you're not using them, or you're not using them in the way they want to be used, or you're making choices that they don't necessarily agree with, they're going to have problems with that, and they might end up leaving your company. So you have to manage that aspect, and then as well with the whole overworld, there's a bunch of different factions. So you have to kind of manage your relationship with all these different factions, choose who you want to ally yourself with, and be wary of who you make enemies with because they might send bounty hunters after you and stuff like that. So there's a decent amount of management to go on, but there is no base that you have for your company, but there is a skill tree that you can work towards getting different upgrades.
I got to tell you, Football Manager, but for D&D nerds, is something that appeals to me on a deep, deep level. So I'm very much looking forward to this. Thank you to both of you for sitting down with us, talking about it, and showing it off.
Yeah, thank you very much for having us. We appreciate it.
For even more Summer of Gaming goodness, download the TikTok app, follow IGN, and search IGN Summer of Gaming hashtag to find a slew of bonus gameplay clips and upload your very own epic gaming moments.
I certainly do love the epic gamer moments. We just took a look at Star Renegades and Iron Oath, and now it's time for a chat about Foreclosed. And although it might sound like a depressing game about real estate and mortgages and your landlord, it's actually a colorful cyberpunk adventure. Here's your first look at some gameplay.
Foreclosed is a gorgeous new cyberpunk game with a beautiful graphic novel aesthetic. Here to tell me about it are Andrea and Lara from Antab Studios. Welcome.
Hey, thank you. Hi, everyone.
So Foreclosed is set in obviously a beautiful cyberpunk dystopian future. Can you tell me a little bit about what this universe is like, who the main character is, and what is being foreclosed exactly?
Okay, yeah. So the main character is Evan Kapnos. You can see him into the gameplay video. And he's the everyday man in this dystopic future. And to tell about this story, we have to explain a bit about the context. So in this future, everyone has brain implants. And brain implants are used to be connected with cities, so to have any kind of interaction. The key concept is that the identity of a person is basically just a bunch of data, and it represents a node into a gigantic blockchain, and it's embedded into your brain implants. So it's something that is given to you by the state as soon as you are born, as a way to interact with the universe. The absurd story of our character takes place because when you are old enough in this universe, companies can buy what we call the identity debt of the citizens. It means that since the implants you get from the state, they have a cost. That cost represents your debt to have an identity in this environment and to interact, to have any kind of transaction with the city, to buy stuff and so on. So companies buy this debt from the state, and you actually work for the companies basically to pay your debt. And the absurd thing that happens to Evan is that in a mysterious way, the company you work for goes bankrupt. And you have to understand why. But the main thing is that your identity gets foreclosed just like any other goods of the bankrupted company. And
yeah. And like at the very beginning, you just reach the court and do some paperwork just to try to find an escape from this bureaucratic mess, we may say. But what actually happened is that while you're trying to reach the court, some mysterious agents start to chase you and try to kill you. So now you have to find a way to escape from the city before the auctioning, but also not to get killed.
Yeah. Then there's a quick escalation of things that happens to the main character. As soon as you think the story is about fixing the paperwork, basically, what happens is that you are involved in something bigger than you, and the key story is that you have to understand what's going on. You have to try to survive and to get out of the bureaucratic mess.
So it sounds like some good dystopian noir, appropriately cyberpunk. Can you give us a sense of how the world is structured? We've seen some sort of looks like some good exploration and going to different areas, but sort of how are players engaged with this world?
Okay, so we wanted to give the idea of that you will be playing a comic book, and we worked really hard to give this feeling. So the game is not an open world game, and is mainly story driven, but we blend everything seamlessly together. So you will not have a feeling of different levels, or level 1 or level 2 and so on. The storyline builds up as you move into this world, and you will not see loading times or something like that. So it's just a fluid, continuous experience. This is just to make the feeling that you are playing it's a fully playable cyberpunk comic book.
Yeah.
So this is the key thing. Yeah.
Let's talk about the combat a little bit. It looks like we're using some implants to throw dumpsters at people. Explain that, please.
Yeah, so as you're seeing, like, implants are extremely important in Foreclosed. They are like your curse and your blessing. And that's because you have an experimental firmware installed inside your implants. And this firmware is going to give you like incredible combat skills and powers. You may see inside the video you have like telekinetic kind of abilities. So you can lift object, throw the object through the enemy. You can lift your enemy and like freeze them in the air. You can slam them down. You can do this kind of stuff. You also have a very special weapon, which is built to connect and work with your implants. And this is a symbiotic gun, we may call it. Yeah. So you can actually equip different kind of bullets, and this allows you to turn your weapon in what you want. So let's say you can transform a simple gun into a machine gun, or into an explosive kind of weapon. And you can also combine different kind of bullets together. One thing that you have to take care about is that because your powers and your implants are experimental, the system is a bit unstable. So when you use your powers, you're going to overheat your implant, and you have to take extremely care of the heating level of the device, because if you overheat the implant, you're going to stun. It's a very painful kind of overheat, and you have to wait until the system cools down completely before being able to use your powers again.
Yeah, so it's a continuous balancing of using the and mixing the power, and be careful because of the overheat system. And the powers are unlockable in a RPG style. So since it's depending from your firmware, it's going to upgrade itself as you progress through the story and you fight with enemies. In that way, you will basically have some upgrade cycles you can spend to decide what power is most suitable for you. And so you will see also in the gameplay video that you can throw stuff in the air. You can use telekinesis to attract objects and use them as shields, basically, to protect yourself. Or you can lift enemies, throw them on the floor, keep energetic shields on yourself. And mixing everything together with the gun powers, you basically make your own strategy for fighting.
Oh yeah, and like you're also seeing that in the video. You can also hack devices and systems all around, and depending on the device you're hacking, you will perform different acts, we may say. So for example, opening a door or making a cabinet explode, and you can even act brain implants of an unaware enemy.
Yeah, so we can use some stealth elements in some fight. It's not something that is always there, because we have stealth when it makes sense for the storyline, but it's also an ability you have as a player.
Yeah.
Well, you've both been clearly hard at work along with the rest of the team. What platforms are you looking at, and what kind of release date are we expecting?
For release date, we can just say it's going to be Q2 next year, so 2021.
Yeah.
And platform, we aim to, we are working on PC, on Xbox, Switch, PlayStation, so, all the main platforms.
Yep.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for showing off Foreclosed. It looks great.
Foreclosed has closed for now. Foreclosed. Don't forget, all summer of gaming long, IGN is asking you, Brian, to donate to worthy causes by following the links in the description of this video or by heading to donate.ign.com. You can give to the COVID-19 Response Fund dedicated to studying, tracking, and combating COVID-19, or to the Bail Project, working to reunite families separated by the mass incarceration system.
And for even more Summer of Gaming goodness, download the TikTok app, follow IGN, and search for IGN Summer of Gaming hashtag for bonus gameplay clips and to upload your own awesome gaming moments. Next up, Blanco's Block Party looks like a cross between Little Big Planet and collecting Funko Pops, but first, a quick break. We'll be right back with more IGN Expo number 2.
IGN Summer of Gaming is brought to you by Fuser, who'll be partying with us all summer long.
The next generation of video gaming is on the horizon, and IGN is here to bring you the latest PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X news and analysis in our new weekly show, Next Gen Console Watch 2020. We'll bring on the experts to discuss and analyze all the latest developments around these new consoles. From frame rates, services, features, peripherals, and even all the new tech jargon, Next Gen Console Watch 2020 will keep you up to speed on everything leading up to the next generation of gaming. Join us every Friday for a new episode.
Not only is IGN the world's biggest media brand for games and entertainment, but we also have a team of some of the world's biggest fans of your favorite franchises. From breaking news and exclusives, never-before-seen looks at movies and games, to reviews, let's plays, and live streams, IGN brings you all the coverage you need, no matter where you are. Whether you're on IGN.com, the IGN app, YouTube, Facebook, or Snapchat, we've always got you covered. IGN, the #1 source for all games and entertainment fans worldwide.
News, Games, and More is IGN's live news show every day of the week that covers all the day's news about games, movies, comics, and of course more. This is our daily live show that takes a rotating cast of IGN talent going over all the latest news of the day while taking live questions and comments from chat. We're live every Monday through Friday at 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern, and you can find us on mixer.com/IGN, youtube.com/IGN, and twitch.tv/IGN. See you there.
If you're not following IGN on social media, what are you waiting for? We're constantly updating our feeds to bring you the latest news, gameplay, custom original content, the best user-generated videos and art, memes, and a whole lot more. Be part of the conversation throughout the year. Follow IGN on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, TikTok, and Snapchat.
You are a good giraffe, and that's why I love you. Yeah. Oh, hey, Sydney. Welcome back. Question, do you think children's toys come to life when no one's looking at night and you need friends?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, they made like 4 movies about it, so it has to be true, right?
What about high-end designer vinyl toys for artsy collectors such as myself and my friend, the giraffe?
You know, they probably come to life too, since there's going to be a video game about it, and video games are pretty realistic.
They certainly are, and so is my giraffe. I can't fault that logic anyway. The game's called Blanco's Block Party, and if I'm not mistaken, we've killed enough time with this fake back and forth for me to queue up an exclusive interview with one of the developers, so let's check it out.
Sweet, let's see it.
Let's see it.
Blanco's Block Party is a game about a bunch of little vinyl figurines that come to life and get into all sorts of trouble. Here to tell me about it is Jamie Jackson, the Chief Creative Officer for Mythical Games. Jamie, how's it going?
Hey man, what's up, Max?
Who are these Blancos, and who allowed them to have this block party? Tell me about this game. Tell me what's going on here.
Oh man, so Blancos, like you said, their vinyl toys come to life. We allowed them to have the party, I guess. There's a whole kind of this is where the kind of idea of is where Blancos go, or where vinyl toys go when humans aren't in the room. So the place that they've created is their block parties. And then there's a kind of big place we call the Junction, where they can go and hang out and train up and hang out with their friends. But the stuff that you're seeing now, this is actually all in the UGC side of it. So you can kind of build and create your own worlds too.
So that's a huge part of the whole like vinyl doll collectible scene, people customizing sort of existing figurines and stuff. Can you talk a bit about how in-depth the user-created content side of this is?
Yeah, sure. So from a Blanco side, we're actually working with a bunch of really cool vinyl artists to come and have their artwork in-game on Blancos, much like in the real world. But from the UGC side, this level, everything we're looking at now is all levels that we've been built in our editor. And the point of the editor really was to build it with a controller. We wanted to make it really easy for players to build worlds, whether it's just a hangout, somewhere they can go and hang out with their friends and do whatever they want, or they can actually drop gameplay in really easily. And it's not about having to code or open any boxes to type in code. It's everything can be done with a game controller. You just have to drop a toy in, really easy parameters to set. Season 1, we're going to be dropping things like this, shooting and racing, vibe collecting, kind of platform style gameplay. The key part is it's really easy to build levels.
Cool. So you're talking about controllers. What platforms are you guys looking at?
So we're going to be launching on PC later this year, and we're going to be announcing our console strategy in a couple of weeks, hopefully.
Very cool. Now, this is going to be a free-to-play game, is that right?
Yeah, that's right. It's going to be free-to-play, so there's going to be a ton of content for players just to come in, play, build, even kind of train up a Blanco to a point. But then if you want all the cool Blancos and that kind of stuff, that's where you're going to be using the in-game currency to buy those.
Now, I can tell by the shelf behind you, you are a fan of urban vinyl and designer toys. Can you talk a little bit about some of the artists you've got involved so far?
So we're not getting into the artists yet, but if you know anything about this world and any of those artists that are in there, we've definitely got an amazing lineup coming. And we live in a world of seasonal content now, so we're going to just keep getting better and better.
Nice. Now, so in terms of sort of how how you said you're going to have racing and shooting and obviously plenty of platforming. What are you using to determine sort of what direction you want to go with things in terms of sort of you see?
Sorry, I missed that last bit.
Oh, sorry. Like what? Are you going to be sort of following the community's lead in terms of this, or do you guys have like a pretty strict plan in terms of what you want to roll out first and what kind of content you want to let people play around with?
Yeah, I mean, we have a really good idea of what we want to launch, but the main thing for us is to listen to the community as well. So we want to really kind of build for them, because the idea of Blancos is you kind of build what you want to play. That's the kind of approach we're taking with the UGC side. So although we have a ton of plans about what we want to bring, as we get through seasons, we start to see what players do and how they do it differently. We definitely want to listen to them. I think, the big thing for me, having made games for as long as I have, is players always play the games we've made in a totally different way than we expected them to. And we want to take that on board and just try and provide a bunch of really easy tools for them to do exactly that. And then watch what they do and listen to what they want and then drop that in them in future seasons.
Cool. Now, Mythical is a fairly new studio, is that right? But you've got a bunch of people who have like really a lot of experience and some pedigree. Can you speak a little bit to that?
Yeah, so we're almost coming up to 2 years old. But it was founded by myself, John Linden and Rudy Koch. John and I were both studio heads at Activision, so my background was DJ Hero and Guitar Hero. John and Rudy both worked a lot on Call of Duty, Skylanders franchises. So, even from just the three of us in the beginning, we kind of had a great pedigree, and we've just added to that, bringing in people from the mobile world as well. So having that great free-to-play expertise, World of Warcraft. So the games everyone's worked on have been pretty incredible.
What kind of lessons did you learn from sort of working in the AAA space that you're bringing to the table here and really sort of turning players loose with? I
mean, that's a great question. I think some of the biggest ones was don't assume you know everything the player's going to do at the beginning. Allow a little bit of room for them to make the game their own. I think, you see that in a lot of products these days. As players find new ways to play, the developer's able to kind of switch around and kind of really enhance some of those options for them. So I think that's probably one of the big things. We've really kind of spent a lot of the first part of this project prototyping and playing with it and thinking about how do we want to play with these games? How would we want to build it, and not being a programmer or coder or anything like that. So making sure it's really, really easy to get into, I think, has been the biggest one for me.
We're seeing a lot of level design here. Will the Blancos themselves be customizable? Will people be able to sort of do their own character creation?
There is going to be some things you can do to Blancos. As you play through the game and you play both like in the single player and also in the multiplayer and the kind of UGC modes, you're going to unlock different attachments. So you're going to be able to put different backpacks and jetpacks and various attachments on a Blanco. Some of them will just be cosmetic and just look really cool, but some of them are going to enhance the abilities that a Blanco has. And you can train your Blanco's abilities as you go through a game. So when you get a Blanco at the beginning, it will kind of start at 0, and you can train it to be good at different things. So you can make it really cool at the shooting, you could make it really fast and responsive for the platforming or racing. And we're going to announce some stuff a little bit closer to launch about some of the other things you can do to customize them.
Cool. Now, obviously, free-to-play does make some gamers raise their eyebrows, but we've seen a lot of really sort of successful models lately that manage to, balance making a profit with also offering a good user experience. Can you talk a little bit about how you're approaching monetization here?
Yeah, I mean, like you say, I think there's some great examples out there now, and we're in a different world than we were 5 or 10 years ago. Our key thing is that anyone coming in just has a really good time straight at the beginning and feels value even in that free-to-play piece. We're going to talk a little bit later on about our structure, but, you're going to be able to buy Blancos. I think there's some great games out there that are, we all think in seasons now rather than Blancos 1, 2, and 3. So definitely expect us to kind of take that same approach and be dropping some great content in a seasonal approach.
Now, you mentioned some of the team, has a background in Skylanders. The sort of Toys to Life craze hasn't really had the best history recently. Are there any plans to make physical Blancos, or is this strictly going to be a sort of virtual collectible?
Well, Mythical's kind of thesis really is, owning digital content is the future for us. So the thing about Blancos is with each Blanco, you actually own these things, right? So they're yours to do with what you want. And that's about the digital ownership. Who knows whether we bring them into real world later on? I mean, they're designed around real toys, so it would be very easiest to do that. But right now, Blancos is all about digital ownership and you building the games that you want to play.
Awesome. And when are you expecting to sort of launch or have more information about that available?
We're aiming to launch at the end of the year, so towards the holiday period. And like I say, we're launching on PC. We're actually going to be having our kind of beta phase sometime towards the end of the year as well. And then we're going to be letting you know about our platform strategy pretty soon.
Thanks so much for coming by. I look forward to checking out more about Blanco's Block Party in the near future.
Our next exciting under-the-radar pick for check out this game is called Bravery Network Online. It's a competitive RPG with a combat system that's a bit like Pokemon, but if all of the monsters were swapped out with some highly fashionable combatants. Check out some exclusive new gameplay. Like what you see? Then head on over to IGN.com or YouTube.com/IGN to watch the full extended version of this gameplay.
City Goodman, and fans of Spellbreak are probably super stoked about what came at the end of that trailer. And here to talk more with us about Spellbreak is Seth Seabach. Hi, Seth.
Thanks for having me. Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, thank you. So let's just start off. I mean, like I was saying, coming to Xbox and Switch. Can you talk more about that?
Yeah, it's super exciting. We're really we've been working on this for a while, and we have been hoping to deliver this. A lot of people in the community have been asking, when are we going to bring it to the Switch and to the Xbox One? I mean, I personally can't wait to play it on my Switch. I love sitting on the couch and using it. So I'm definitely really excited to be able to bring it to those audiences. So we're looking forward to it when we get to full release later this year.
Great. And so it's already on PS4 and PC. Are there plans for crossplay?
Yeah, so we currently, the beta itself that is on PS4 and PC right now has cross matchmaking, and we definitely are looking for to continue to allow for crossplay when we get to full release, and we're excited about really letting players that are anywhere play with their friends. It's one of the things that we have kind of built the idea behind Spellbreak around, is the ability for people to be able to play with their friends whenever they want, and so we're excited to be able to do crossplay at launch.
Yeah, no, I mean, I have a lot of friends that play on a lot of different platforms. So anytime a game supports crossplay, I am all for it. So with that said, I feel like a lot of different games handle crossplay different ways. I'm not sure how far you guys are in kind of knowing how you're going to do crossplay, but is it something that maybe you can opt out of and only matchmake against other PS4 players or other controller players? Like, how will crossplay actually function?
Yeah, so definitely you will be able to opt out if you don't want to, and be able to play with just whoever else is on your designated platform. So if you're on the PS4, you can decide you only want to play with PS4 players. So that will be available. And like I said, we have cross matchmaking now. The next step is basically allowing for cross teams, so you can team up with your friends on whatever platform they're on and jump into squads or some of our other game modes as a group.
Mm-hmm. And for everybody who this is your first time seeing Spellbreak, do not worry. We are going to get to talking about the nitty gritty, but I just find crossplay is so exciting. So a few more questions about that. Let's say that I have Spellbreak on PC, but now I'm also going to have it on my Switch. Are you able to have the same profile on both? Like have your achievements and whatever carry over?
Yeah, so that's like getting to true cross progression, which is sort of one account everywhere. And that's something we're definitely looking into. And I think we would love to have be available. That's kind of the dream, right? Is that as a player, you can have your one account play on any platform of your choosing, as long as possible. So that's definitely something that we want to get to.
Awesome. Cross progression. The word was on the tip of my tongue and I basically was just given the definition, but that's okay. Okay, so let's just jump into Spellbreak. For people who don't know what it is, can you just give us like a quick synopsis?
Yeah, so it's an action spellcasting PvP game. The primary game mode that we're launching with is Battle Royale. So you'll be able to team up with up to three players, and it's a 42-person lobbies. And so the biggest difference you'll see here in all the gameplay is, I think, the core combat, which is, of course, spellcasting, because you play as a battle mage, as well as a lot of the like movement abilities. I think the key things that really define Spellbreak are the combat and the kind of sort of like verticality and movement you see in the match. So players are able to do everything from blink to levitate, and you actually equip 2 magical gauntlets, and that's what you use for all of your attacks. So it's sort of a blend of what would be like an ability shooter and a more, I think, like MMO style combat, where you things are on cooldown and you want to be tactical on when you're using your abilities at the right time. So that's kind of what defines Spellbreak.
Yeah, because obviously there's a lot of battle royale games on the market, but I think Spellbreak does a really good job kind of carving its niche, because I definitely haven't played any battle royales like it. But with that said, what similarities maybe for folks who are huge battle royale fans can they expect in Spellbreak?
So I mean, like, yeah, the core of the mode itself is very similar. You know, you want to be the last either squad or individual standing, and you have a set of safe zones that get smaller over time that pull everyone together. You drop in with no loot, and you need to loot as you go. And so those are all the core tenets you'd expect from a battle royale mode exist in Spellbreak. We do try to find ways to make it really fit for the style of game that Spellbreak is, though, because like one of the big differences is while we do have something like the safe zones, like the new areas outside, the circle areas that are iconic in Battle Royale, we also make it so that every time you get to one of those circles, you actually level up your class. So you pick a class in Spellbreak, and each circle you hit, you get stronger and more powerful. And so it's a little bit more like a MOBA in that way than it is, I think, like a standard sort of Battle Royale mode.
Yeah, no, I love that mechanic. I think it's such an interesting thing to add to the battle royale genre. With that said, so I'm gonna squeeze in like one really quick question because we're almost out of time, but I know that we have a really special announcement at the end of this, and I don't want to cut into that too much. But I think that the community around Spellbreak is so robust, and I know you guys rolled out a new patch about a month ago, and the reaction was super positive. But how do you balance community feedback with kind of you and your team's original vision? Because there seems to be a really good line of communication there.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of the things that we focused on as a studio. We've had players playing Spellbreak in some form since the summer of 2018. And the way we kind of look at it is there's three components that we care about. It's really getting the player feedback where we want to go and the actual direction that that we see from the stats in the game, and we balance all of those together to make our design decisions. And that's why player feedback has been so critical, and the community has been really helpful for us to make the game what it is today.
Mm-hmm. I'm happy to hear that. I always appreciate like positive relationships between a game and their community. Obviously, I'm not advocating for negative relationships there. Anyways, so you and your team have a really special announcement for everybody who wants to play Spellbreak and all the Spellbreak fans that are watching this stream right now. So why don't you tell them what we got?
Yeah, so we have an exclusive outfit available for those of you that are watching. There's a limited number of them available, but being a new game and a relatively small team, we look to our community to really help us out. And so we thought this would be kind of a cool little reward for folks that are helping us in the early phases as we're still getting Spellbreak close to launch. So the outfit is called Treeline, and so it'll be available for folks that are watching now to go pick up. So we're really excited to be able to offer that to the community.
Yeah, and thank you so much for bringing that to our viewers. So before we go, I know you said an official release date, maybe you had like a time frame?
Later on this year, sometime in 2020.
Thank you so much, Seth. We look forward to hearing more about Spellbreak in the future.
Go to spellbreak.com/IGN to get your free exclusive in-game skin right now. Well, we're almost out of trailers for now, but we still got 2 more IGN Expos coming during the summer of gaming, and each will be filled to the brim with premieres and trailers like some kind of overflowing frozen tropical drink with exotic fruits, twisty straws, crazy silly limes and lemons and squiggles and sandwiches and great stuff.
Delicious. Not only that, but more charity streams, Sony's Future of Gaming event immediately following this, and our Animal Crossing New Horizons Celebrity Island tours on June 16th. For a complete schedule of Summer of Gaming events, and believe me, there is a whole lot more, so make sure you check out IGN.com.
But we aren't done yet. You know, it's hard to think of anything more grossly irresponsible than letting an infant operate a motor vehicle, and yet, here's a game that does exactly that. I hope someone got fired for this one. Let's check it out.
Rated E for everyone.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, to the slime event of the year. Select your crew and start your engine. 'Cause it's race day. Battle your way through all new slime-filled tracks. Watch out, Leo! With even more of your favorite characters than ever before. Hey there, JoJo. Now race with friends. Compete online. Now that's what I call racing. Nickelodeon Kart Racers 2 Grand Prix. Coming soon.
IGN Summer of Gaming is brought to you by Fuser, who'll be partying with us all summer long.
A clear white rain energy was on the streets, trying to consume some search for the eat, so I can get some phones rolling in my...
News, games, and more is IGN's live news show every day of the week that covers all the day's news about games, movies, comics, and of course more. This is our daily live show that takes a rotating cast of IGN talent, going over all the latest news of the day while taking live questions and comments from chat. We're live every Monday through Friday at 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern, and you can find us on mixer.com/IGN, youtube.com/IGN, and twitch.tv/IGN. See you there.
The next generation of video gaming is on the horizon, and IGN is here to bring you the latest PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X news and analysis in our new weekly show, Next Gen Console Watch 2020. We'll bring on the experts to discuss and analyze all the latest developments around these new consoles. From frame rates, services, features, peripherals, and even all the new tech jargon, Next Gen Console Watch 2020 will keep you up to speed on everything leading up to the next generation of gaming. Join us every Friday for a new episode.
Not only is IGN the world's biggest media brand for games and entertainment, but we also have a team of some of the world's biggest fans of your favorite franchises. From breaking news and exclusives, never-before-seen looks at movies and games, to reviews, let's plays, and live streams, IGN brings you all the coverage you need, no matter where you are. Whether you're on IGN.com, the IGN app, YouTube, Facebook, or Snapchat, we've always got you covered. IGN, the #1 source for all games and entertainment fans worldwide.
If you're not following IGN on social media, what are you waiting for? We're constantly updating our feeds to bring you the latest news, gameplay, custom original content, the best user-generated videos and art, memes, and a whole lot more. Be part of the conversation throughout the year. Follow IGN on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, TikTok, and Snapchat.
With huge reveals, jaw-dropping new trailers, exclusive gameplay footage, and our first looks at what next gen holds for the future of gaming. And it continues here today with Sony's future of gaming. With over on Sony to reveal what the PlayStation 5 will bring to the table. Does the PS5 have what it takes to dominate next gen? We're about to find out when Sony raises the curtain on the future of gaming. Strap in, kick back, and get ready. IGN's Summer of Gaming is here.
Welcome back to IGN's Summer of Gaming. I am Max Scoville. And I'm Brian Altano, and for the next few weeks, we'll be bringing you all the biggest announcements, trailers, reveals, and gameplay, plus tons of exclusive content that you won't find anywhere else. But the biggest event of the year, maybe even the decade, maybe even the century, might just be happening very, very soon in just a few minutes. Right, Max?
That's right, Brian. As many of you in the chat know, we are just moments away from Sony's big Future of Gaming event. I'm sorry to keep you waiting. If we could watch it just ahead of time, just push play and make it happen early, we would, but we can't do that. So we are just spinning our wheels and twiddling our thumbs and hoping that we get an idea of what PlayStation 5 has in store for next gen, but that's only the beginning.
That's right. The PlayStation Vita 2 press conference starts in no, I'm kidding. The PS5 event starts in just a few minutes, and we'll be chasing that with a post-show featuring the cast of IGN's PlayStation Show Beyond, hey, that's us, followed by IGN's Next Gen Console Watch, hey, that's other people, and then news, games, and more, hey, that's sometimes some of us, and that's the way we'll close out our day. So just nonstop coverage for the next few hours. Then, tomorrow, it doesn't stop. We'll have the third IGN Expo, our presentation of world premieres, developer interviews, and brand new gameplay. And I know we hype up stuff for a living here at IGN, but I gotta say, this is like a truly incredible slate of stuff planned for the next few weeks. Just a nonstop bonanza of insane coverage of video game madness, and I am so damn excited.
Yeah.
This feels like we're real E3 right now. That's what this feels like to me.
We're doing our best. It's a weird long E3 that's spread out over the course of a month. It might be bad for our health. But anyway, in addition to the hottest, biggest, loudest, noisiest video game reveals, IGN is also sending donations from this stream to the World Health Organization and the Bail Project. I'm sure you've heard about this if you've been watching the stream because we have been drawing attention to it. That's called a call to action, and it does call people to action. You can find donation links in the video description or by heading to donate.ign.com. And charity is great on its own. It's a nice thing. It makes you feel good about yourself. But by donating, you can also enter for a chance to win awesome prizes, including a custom Summer of Gaming Xbox One X if you chip in more than $50. We have currently raised about $15,000 as of...
Actually, it's just over $17,000 now.
Okay,
we're at $17,171. So keep that going, keep pushing that. Remember, this is not only for a bunch of great causes, but you get a chance of winning a very, very limited edition console that is going to be hunted down by collectors decades from now, and they will pay you handsomely for that because they're weird.
Anyway, enough about a limited edition Xbox. Let's talk about everything we know about the PlayStation 5 so far.
The PlayStation 5 is set to be released this holiday season, and we've finally been promised a look at PS5 games to come. While the actual games at this reveal event remain a mystery, there's still plenty we do know about the PS5 before we get a release date or price details, or even a first real look at the actual console. So, to bring you up to speed for today's reveal, here's everything we know so far about the PS5. Sony hasn't given us a PS5 price yet, but lead system architect Mark Cerny told Wired last year that the price would be, quote, appealing to gamers in light of its advanced feature set, unquote. For reference, the PS4 cost $399 at launch. Similarly, we still don't have a firm release date, but Sony has remained committed to a holiday 2020 launch window. Both the PS3 and PS4 were launched in November. Sony announced the PS5's official specs back in March while also confirming that the PS5 won't abandon physical media, playing 100 gig Blu-ray discs and supporting 4K Blu-ray playback. Cerny primarily focused on the PS5's unique solid-state drive, one he claimed, quote, has a raw bandwidth higher than any SSD available for PCs, end quote. Cerny compared the load times of Marvel's Spider-Man on PS4 Pro, 15 seconds, to that on a PS5 dev kit, only 0.8 seconds. The SSD is also meant to allow the PS5 to render worlds more quickly than ever before, allowing developers to rethink how they design games and maybe, someday, rid us of having to ride a loading elevator or squeeze through a narrow pathway to cover a load screen ever again. The PS5 will let players install games in segments, allegedly support 8K gaming, even though that probably won't be as big a deal as they're making it seem, at least for a while, and include energy-saving capabilities for when games are suspended. No word yet, though, on if those fans will be any quieter than a PS4 Pro's. Another major push by Sony will be 3D audio, built into the PS5 on a system level, which will allow players to have a more accurate indication of where unseen enemies are or where their gunfire is coming from. Plenty of third parties have already announced games in development for the PlayStation 5, Among the biggest are Ubisoft's Assassin's Creed Valhalla and Gearbox's Godfall, a 3-player looter slasher that will be console exclusive to PS5. We've also heard Bluepoint Games is working on a PS5 game as well. And while Sony itself hasn't revealed any first-party games for the PS5 just yet, we did get a look at what third-party games could look like thanks to the first Unreal Engine 5 tech demo running in real time on a PS5. Sony has confirmed that the PS5 will be backward compatible with the majority of the PS4's 4,000 plus games. And for those who have bought into PSVR this generation, fear not. Sony says the PS5 will be backward compatible with current PSVR hardware, which is great considering big titles like Marvel's Iron Man VR are still coming. Still no word though on when we might get a PSVR 2. Unlike Microsoft with the Xbox Series X and Xbox One, however, Sony is seemingly not interested in making sure games developed for PS5 also work on PS4. Quote, "We believe that when you go to all the trouble of creating a next-gen console, that it should include features and benefits that the previous generation does not include," PlayStation CEO Jim Ryan recently said. While we wait for a look at the console itself, Sony has offered some info on the PS5's new controller, the DualSense, which puts an emphasis on players feeling what happens in-game on top of just controlling it. This includes haptic feedback rather than the familiar rumble, along with adaptive triggers to help players experience everything from the feeling of trudging through mud to the tightening of a bowstring. The controller will also include a microphone array to allow for chatting with friends, and the share button has been swapped out for the create button, but what new functionality that brings is unclear. And that's every major piece of info we know about the PS5 so far. But with presumably only 5 or 6 months until the console's launch, we're expecting to see a lot more from Sony about why they think the PS5 is worth the upgrade. For more on all things PlayStation, check out our weekly PlayStation show, Podcast Beyond. Find out what every major first-party Sony studio is working on, and for everything else, stick with IGN.
We are just moments away from Sony's big, huge PlayStation 5 Future of Gaming reveal, but we need to take a very quick break. Don't forget to download the TikTok app, follow IGN, and search IGN Summer of Gaming hashtag for extra content and to be a part of the conversation. IGN Summer of Gaming will continue right after this.
IGN Summer of Gaming is brought to you by Fuser, who'll be partying with us all summer long.
News, games, and more is IGN's live news show every day of the week that covers all the day's news about games, movies, comics, and of course more. This is our daily live show that takes a rotating cast of IGN talent, going over all the latest news of the day while taking live questions and comments from chat. We're live every Monday through Friday at 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern, and you can find us on mixer.com/IGN, youtube.com/IGN, and twitch.tv/IGN. See you there.
If you're not following IGN on social media, what are you waiting for? We're constantly updating our feeds to bring you the latest news, gameplay, custom original content, the best user-generated videos and art, memes, and a whole lot more. Be part of the conversation throughout the year. Follow IGN on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, TikTok, and Snapchat.
Everybody loves watching a speedrun of their favorite game. But what if you got the opportunity to peek into the minds of the developers while they watch their games getting completely wrecked? That's exactly what happens in every episode of Game Devs React to speedruns.
You can do that. Oh my god!
We invite you to ride along with the developers as they react to, question, and enjoy some of the most skilled players exploiting and speeding through a game it took years of their life to create. Join us every Saturday for a new episode.
The next generation of video gaming is on the horizon, and IGN is here to bring you the latest PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X news and analysis in our new weekly show, Next Gen Console Watch 2020. We'll bring on the experts to discuss and analyze all the latest developments around these new consoles. From frame rates, services, features, peripherals, and even all the new tech jargon, Next Gen Console Watch 2020 will keep you up to speed on everything leading up to the next generation of gaming. Join us every Friday for a new episode.
Welcome back, everybody. I'm joined by the cast of IGN's regular PlayStation Show podcast Beyond, Lucy O'Brien, Jonathan Dornbush, and my good buddy Brian Altano. We thought we'd have way more time to talk about this, but Sony's Future of Gaming event starts any minute now. Rapid fire, really quickly. What are we expecting to see? Jonathan, go.
Oh, God, me first? Okay, I think we're definitely going to see something from Insomniac. They're the most recent first-party studio. I hope it's Ratchet. I don't know if we'll see Spider-Man 2 just yet, but I think we could see definitely something from that studio.
Lucy, what about you?
Horizon Zero Dawn 2, I don't think we're going to see a lot of it, but we are going to see it. I also think we're going to see Bluepoint's remake of Demon's Souls.
Brian, you're a big FromSoft guy. What are you hoping to see? More Elden Ring. I want gameplay, I want details, and I want to find out about that Bloodborne remaster that's been rumored about. I will play that game all over again and buy it all over again because I'm stupid. I think if we don't see something from FromSoft, people are going to they're going to riot. They really want to see Elden Ring. They want to know, like, everybody obviously wants more Bloodborne, more Demon's Souls. I mean, you could always do Dark Souls 4. That would be a weird curveball to throw in there. Bring back Armored Core. Who cares? We've also heard...
It's happening. It is 100% happening. I'm so psyched.
Also, like, weird reminder, if the rumors are true and Bloodborne is in fact coming to PC, there is also a PC gaming showcase that's happening this weekend. So it's possible that gets squeezed in there at some point. I'm hoping that we hear something about what's next for Resident Evil, whether that is Resident Evil 8, a brand new thing from the ground up, or the rumored Resident Evil 4 remake, which I would also be very excited about. But yeah, either way, like this, we have some idea what to expect, but I think we're also in for a bunch of surprises. Guys, I'm like positively giddy about all this today.
This is the first event that I've looked forward to this much in a long time.
Mm-hmm.
I'm hyped. I'm vibrating.
Yeah, I got like the pre-E3 jitters, basically. Couldn't sleep well last night. I was just like, I woke up early. I was too excited for this.
Well, it's funny that before everything changed with E3, Sony wasn't going to be there, and now they are the ones hosting the biggest conference the week of what would have been E3. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah, this actually would have been the final day of a real E3.
Oh, God, it's true.
Oh, my. Yeah, and instead it just feels like the kickoff of something new, so I'll really
meet you guys at the Fig later.
Do you think we're going to see the box at all?
That you mean the console?
Yeah,
not
the physical,
not the
physical
packaging
box.
The console.
Well, one thing they've hyped up is the 3D audio things, and there have been sort of murmurs about like will the console be a part of that, or will that just be like how the machine outputs it? I'd be really weird if the whole thing had like a subwoofer in the middle of it, but I don't know. I want to know what's up with that controller. I want to know what they're doing with like the haptic touch sensor. Like, why is there now? Oh, it's starting. All right, we'll stick around. We're going to do a whole roundup pre-show afterwards. Goodbye, everybody. Have fun. Like PlayStation 5. Let's do this. PlayStation. Hey.
Oh, I think there's yeah.
Choices, how we might have ended up.
No, I like the hand we've been dealt.
together, we were destined for something great.
Why did I move here? I guess it was the weather. Or I don't know, that thing. That magic.
I thought we was trying to get out of this bullshit.
You sounding more and more like a snee-eyed yitch every day.
My job, my score, get your own!
We should talk about work.
We out here gangbanging like it's 91.
We all love banks. Get me a DJ.
Give me a hand with these bodies.
This cannot be traced back to me.
Champagne, anyone?
Just sort of smash things.
So now what?
It was great to kick today off with a look back at just some of the seminal moments of the last 25 years. And what better way to bridge our past and our future than with a game that's graced every PlayStation console, Grand Theft Auto. It's been a privilege partnering with Rockstar Games for many years now, and we're thrilled to open today with the news that that partnership will continue with PlayStation 5. It's now just over a year since we began sharing technical details of PlayStation 5, but today's the day that we've been looking forward to for years, when we get to show you just some of the games that demonstrate our belief that PlayStation 5 marks the biggest generational transition our industry has yet seen. The content we've curated for today's event showcases how PS5 has inspired developers to create new experiences that are transformative in how they look, sound, and feel. Enough from me. We're going to have the games do our talking.
A hero's just someone who doesn't give up. Your dad said that. He was right. Now it's your turn. Go be a hero, Miles.
Okay, let's do this.
Feeling just don't stop me now. Try to hate on us. And when my neck since I'm strong enough. The feeling just don't stop me now. Baby, yeah, we
今日は皆さんに僕らが作っている新しいグランツーリスモの情報をシェアできるということですごく興奮しています。今回のグランツーリスモはおそらくこれまでのねグランツーリスモのファンの方がプレイしたら本当に嬉しいんじゃないかなっていう、キャンペーンモードを中心にしたグランツーリスモになっていると思います。ぜひ楽しみにしていてください。
You all right back there?
No way. It appears that the dimensions are collapsing on one another. If we cannot get to...
Right, the ship. I mean, we can't be that far.
I have it in my sights.
They have found us, Ratchet.
How do I steer this thing?
Ask nicely.
Slow down, please! That's not listening!
The dimensions are weakening considerably.
How bad is it?
Well, it is certainly not good.
Great!
Where are we?
Beats me.
To the depths with you! How many arms you got, beast? We've been boarded! Get off me, ship! I'll return!
Frank!
Ratchet, We are too late. Ratchet?
Who?
Hi, I'm Marcus Smith, creative director at Insomniac Games. The entire studio is so excited to be able to share with you a first ever look at Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart, a brand new, full-length, interdimensional adventure built from the ground up for the PlayStation 5. We're doing things we've never been able to do before, like use dimensional rifts to be able to leap from planet to planet nearly instantly, or put ray trace reflections on Clank. All of our alien worlds are filled with density and life previously unseen. Plus, Ratchet's all-new arsenal is more exciting than ever thanks to the DualSense controller's enhanced feedback. Ratchet and Clank are near and dear to our hearts at Insomniac, and we can't wait to share more with you in the future. But for now, here's another look.
Did you see that?
Like my ride, bro? Off the Lombax!
Look! It's Ratchet and Clank!
Sand sharks from above.
Nice sand shark! Nice sand shark! My heroes!
Was that a kraken? Or at least a very large octopus. I will never get used to that.
Hey, break reality.
Don't let him get to the boss!
Did Dr. Nefarious really resurface after all these years just to try and take over the universe again?
Yeah! I kinda wish he was doing a worse job!
He must have more planned than planned.
That's what I'm afraid of.
Making games used to be about these constant trade-offs between the artistic vision and technical limitations. With PS5, we're not going to be burdened like that. We're going to be able to realize our artistic vision a lot better. It's got a ton of horsepower, which is very easy to unlock, and it's a machine that's really easy to develop on. The PS5 will present a paradigm shift as to what players will come to expect from gaming. Will let us tell stories, make worlds, create gameplay that I think will truly captivate the player and really surprise quite a few people. Please take a look at this new franchise for Worldwide Studios, coming exclusively for PlayStation 5.
Over and over, I relive my first moments on this alien planet. The crash. The attack. My death. The crash. The attack. My death. Trapped in this endless cycle. Even death is no escape. Each time I awake, this planet seems somehow different, as if changing. This world is becoming part of me, infecting my mind, my memories. The longer I spend here, the more I can feel my sanity slip away. But I cannot lose hope. My only choice is to keep fighting. To keep looking for answers. My only hope is to break the cycle. Before the cycle breaks me.
and you bring the weapons. Ready the keys for notorious me, or I'll be the top one and you can back off. Cracking the mic, well, action of election, I'm sparks to the match, and I'm up, breaking all the scratch. Need the rest of the better. I am the best, come and get it and shoot me like I'm a take over the best. It's boom, boom, battle that you won't be last, and I'm invincible. The racking on you will never fight no other better than me. You will stop struck, cause I am the real deal, and you can only run. Hey, this is my game, you won't be afraid of me, undeniable. Hey, set up a cage and I dominate, period. Never, nothing, number one. No battle, no rank, no game. Maps made to be broken, brains to become insane. No battle, no race, no fame. Doctor, we're rolling again. No battle, no rank, no game. Maps made to be broken, brains to become insane. No battle, no race, no fame. Doctor, we're rolling again.
Hello everyone, my name is Josh Greer and this is my brother Mike. We're from Ember Lab, a small team with a background in film and animation.
And we're very excited today to share
You cannot hide your weakness from me. You have no power here, Kena.
You ever feel like you're just waiting for a sign? To do that thing you've always meant to do. Sometimes I feel like I'm just standing on the edge of doing great things. But something's holding me back. Maybe it's just nerves. Maybe it's the fear that I'll never be as good as what I imagine, when I'm still just standing on the edge. But if we've got nothing else to lose, might as well jump.
Hi, I'm Lorne Lanning, and I'm here to share with you a game that I've been dying to make. It's an emotionally engaging story where rescuing is rewarding, failure is devastatingly hilarious, and the memories should last you a lifetime. Take a look.
You are no longer a slave, Abe. They believed, trusted, followed, and it led them here. You may have escaped the murderous blades, but the fate of your entire people is up to you. voice.
プレイステーション5によって我々の考える東京のビジュアルを実現できました。今までに見たことのない東京の魅力を見て、聞いて、感じることができます。これからお見せするのはゴーストワイヤー東京の世界初のゲームプレイ動画です。スーパーナチュラルでミステリアスな東京、そこに潜む驚異と美しさを感じ取っていただけると思います。ぜひお楽しみください。
You see things others can't. Hear threats others don't. Fight when others won't. It's up to you to save Tokyo.
seen. If you're talking one that's gotta intervene, I'm the biggest one that those you ever seen. I'ma need a crown. I'm the only one that ever held it down at the tip top. People flip flop every day, not I. Top 5, I'm a big shot. I'm the one that wanna take the big shots. Big balls, big rings, big rocks, big bag, big moves, big cars, big man, big plan. Get lost in this wall. Look at me now, you can't hold me down. So give me the crown, baby. Wait for the king. We're not the same, we're not the same. We're not the same, we run everything. We're not the same, we're not the same. They ain't got us running through these things. Make way for the king.
It was always gonna end like this. All your hard work, all your sacrifice, only sped up the process. Yourself alone. Only death awaits.
Hacker Nabrak here from IGN Interactive. In Hitman 3, Agent 47 is back for his most intimate and professional contract in his entire career. This is also the dramatic conclusion for the World of Assassination trilogy. I'm so proud to be here to present a little glimpse of the gameplay where Agent 47 is on top of the world in Dubai. Enjoy.
What's up, everyone? I'm Zion Williamson of the New Orleans Pelicans. Here we go. The first ever teaser for NBA 2K21. Y'all are not ready for this.
Trying to bring you down, but for real, you might as well give up now. Think you got a chance, but I don't see how. Got a real tight grip when I hold that crown. I'm the first one in and the last one out. Whoever owns the place gotta drag me out. I don't make a sound when I strike. You better just run for your life. Run for your life. Run for your life. Your life. Run for your life.
Amazing, aren't they? Half bug, half snack. A very recently discovered species, entirely unique to this island. Oh, this one's lively. Beautiful seed patterns. Oh, and it's tasty too. Welcome to the island of bug snacks.
Find a bug and kind of snack. Try to catch it in your trap. Feed the body and you'll see we are whatever we are. Find them hiding in the sand, tearing up a ketchup patch. Come to Snack Tooth Island and discover it's bug snacks. It's bug snacks. Talking about bug snacks. It's bug snacks.
My invitation is open. Come join me on the island of bug snacks.
Liz! I was trying to carry a lamp with my weenie hands, but I dropped it, and now the town's on fire.
Oh, again?
It's bug snacks.
Hi everyone, thank you for being with us today for this very special event. But before we get to the end of the show, I have something very near and dear to me.
Deathloop is a next-gen first-person shooter about rival assassins locked in a time loop.
This is our unique vision, what Arkane is all about.
Freeform immersive gameplay, a surreal player-driven story smashed together.
Want to see some stylish action? Check this out.
Hello, Black Reef. Colt, my predecessor, has been pronounced guilty of treason. He is to be shot on sight and forth in perpetuity. Your assistance is appreciated and mandatory. The real party doesn't start until he's dead.
She is not making this easy. Good morning, Black Reef. Another day, another death. Aren't time loops fun? For everyone else on this island, this place is paradise. A never-ending party where hunting me is the main attraction. And no matter how I try to escape, they always cut me down. But I'm one stubborn motherfucker. Every loop I'm learning a little more, piecing together the puzzle. There's 8 targets, and they all gotta die before midnight. There's just one little snag.
You thought it was going to be easy?
Juliana Blake, Black Reef's protector and a real pain in my ass. She may kill me 1,000,000 times, but eventually, inevitably, I will break this fucking loop.
I don't like watching you die. I like killing you. There's a difference.
Long ago, a young girl went with her mother to pick berries for her father, who was hard at work. But the forest greeted them with a dark, cold silence. The bushes empty. Yet determined to find the berries, the rascal broke free of Mother's grasp and vanished into the trees. Mother's worried cries faded fast as the girl ran on, over vine, under branch, and into the forest deep.
What is it with that creepy story?
It's just a local tale.
You're really into that stuff?
Quit being so paranoid.
No! Friendly! Friendly! Who are you? Who sent you? What's going on? They're coming. Who is? Chris? Sorry, Ethan. Why?
What is that?
Freedom. Our freedom. old ones perished 1,000 years ago. Their great cities turned to graves. In their place came new life. And new dangers. I must find a way to stop it. Or it will get worse and worse. Until it destroys us all. There's nothing I wouldn't do to save this world. No depth I won't explore. No secret I won't unlock. No barrier I won't cross. This mission is mine alone. If I falter, if I fail, there won't be anyone left to stop what's coming. Comes. I will be ready.
On behalf of the entire team at Guerrilla, we're happy to share the first look at Horizon Forbidden West.
We're continuing Elga's story as she moves west to a far future America.
To brave a beautiful but dangerous frontier masked with mysterious new threats.
Get ready to explore distant lands ravaged by massive storms.
And take on new, powerful machines as you return
to the majestic world of Horizon.
Stay tuned for much more. We can't wait for you to get your hands on it.
I think there's a lot to look forward to for the community.
I think fans are going to be really pleased.
As a game designer and storyteller, this is incredibly exciting. We're talking a whole new generation of ideas and experiences that we can create for the player.
No matter where they are, no matter who they are.
New experiences like we've never had before.
More iconic, interesting characters, more atmospheric, immersive worlds for players to explore.
We want to wow players.
Expect the unexpected. And I, for one, can't wait. We can't wait.
We can't wait to share them with you. It's so exciting.
Incredibly exciting.
It's really about love
for the players and for the players.
As a developer, that's an amazing feeling to have.
Welcome to PlayStation 5.
We hope you've enjoyed the first glimpse of our future today. You've seen our most striking console design yet, and you've seen games that can only be enjoyed with the full range of PlayStation 5's features and power. At PlayStation, we believe in generational transitions, and we put years of work into making them happen. We want you to enjoy the unique benefits of moving from one generation to the next. Thank you for joining us. We're launching later this year, and we have tons more to share. Welcome to PlayStation 5.
PlayStation.
Hello.
Beyond.
I didn't even know what to say.
I know.
Well, I did that whole intro muted, so we're off to a great start. Anyway, PlayStation 5, we got to look at the future of gaming, and it's definitely a lot squigglier than I think a lot of us were expecting. Hey, everybody, I'm Max, that's Lucy, that's Jonathan, that's Brian. We do a PlayStation podcast every week, and dear God, we haven't had anything to talk about for quite some time, but now we finally do.
Too much.
I don't know what compelled me to do this today, but I brought my white Vita to the shoot today, just because I wanted it nearby, and it feels like it fits in with the family of the PS5 that we just saw.
It really does.
So oh my God, you guys, this is great. So cool.
Yeah. Okay, so let's start things off. We got our first look at the console after like a lot of kind of wait. We still do not have a release date or a price, which is like the top two things people are currently frantically Googling. That could change sooner or later. Who knows? That might go up quietly in a Wired article, or it might be the thing that Sony reveals during whatever happens for the thing to replace Gamescom later this summer. So I was not expecting two different versions. I was not expecting a digital and digital only, and then a regular version with a disc drive on it. What did you guys make of that, Jonathan?
I think it's genius. Jonathan, go ahead. I'm sorry, I'm very excited.
You're all good. No, we're all so excited. It's crazy. No, I do think that's very telling, probably, of what the price might end up being. because obviously the digital edition will probably come in at a little cheaper if they have the same storage space. And that might be a way to undercut what may be a high price point for the sort of standard version of the box. But I think it makes a lot of sense. Like, granted, a lot of people still do buy physical games, but we've seen, especially in the past few months, people are more than willing to buy a lot of games digitally when they need to. And so I think it makes sense depending on what you're looking for.
Yeah, exactly. I think that we could actually see these consoles be comparable in price if the digital one is offset by having a much bigger drive. If there's something like 3 terabytes in there or more, I think that's a good way to future-proof it. I'm already torn on which one I want, which I think is a good problem for them to have.
Now, Lucy, you've been very vocal on Twitter about how much you wanted like a stupid design. You wanted it to look like the Homer, the car designed for Homer Simpson.
Well,
is it dumb enough?
It's perfect. This is what my tweet was, all right? I'm sick of black box console design. I want the PS5 to be a triangle with some sort of origami folding structure, bright orange, and it sings some real Homer's car stuff, honks when you turn it on, let's go nuts. That was my tweet. I feel like, that was obviously, I was swinging for the fences there, but I feel like what we actually got was kind of on par with that. It's wild. It's such a crazy design. It's incredibly futuristic. It's bizarre. It kind of doesn't make any sense. It looks like it does look like a sort of like a PC rig that someone very high built. And I really, really love that.
Yeah, it's funny that the Xbox Series X has the like standard PC console tower, and this one's like, oh, I spent 30,000 extra bucks on lights and doohickeys to make it go crazy. Like, I do think some of the design is definitely there for the ventilation, because as we've all discussed on Beyond, the PS4 Pro sounds like a jet engine all the time, so they probably work to fix that. But yeah, I
This is the first time a video game console has been on par with the fake video game consoles that leak before the real video game consoles come out. Like, there's always these mock renders that come out that are so ridiculously over the top, like the Nintendo Revolution, which was like this cyborg helmet. This looks like one of those fake mock-ups. If we had seen this a month ago, we would have been like, yeah, right, no way in hell, somebody made that in AutoCAD. This is nonsense, you're a liar. And now it's here, and I'm like, yeah, it's real.
But of course, it's also got the same aesthetic and design as the DualSense. Like, I don't really know why we thought it was going to be more conservative. It's very much a DualSense companion.
Yeah, I'm into that. It was really weird seeing this whole family of hardware lined up. Like, we got to look at the new headphones. There's going to be a dedicated charging cradle thing, which I guess interested in, but also sort of skeptical of, because we were told that the DualSense is going to have a better battery life. I don't know how it would have a worse battery life than the DualShock 4, but I mean, that seems like an odd peripheral to sort of cart out at launch. The media remote is kind of a bold one. That's always been sort of an after the fact type of thing. I feel like to sort of put that out front and center is pretty much acknowledging that, yeah, a lot of people use this as their dedicated, media device. We got I was expecting a little bit more details on sort of the hardware aside from what it looks like. Sony told us to wear headphones for the event to give us the best experience possible. I feel like there's a lot we still don't know. Like, they hyped up the haptic feedback stuff the DualSense does, and there's obviously going to be 3D audio things, but I almost feel like that's stuff that we can't fully properly comprehend. So I think in lieu of that, they were like, here's a crap load of games. Yeah. So let's shift gears and talk about that. We had a few like real bangers out of that. Let's talk about Horizon Forbidden West. We've been joking for ages about what are they going to call it. I think Forbidden West is a damn good name. Lucy, you're a huge Horizon fan.
Yeah, I mean, I do feel like the name is very much like, hey, let's put our hand in this bowl of words and then throw it at the wall and see what sticks. And Forbidden West is as good as any, right? I think it looks amazing. I think I'm so excited. Again, I've always said I wasn't super keen on Horizon 2 coming out like at launch. But like what we've seen already is so damn impressive. I wouldn't be sad if it did. I think one of the coolest things we saw is the more kind of organic machine design. I love that kind of hulking, almost like Shadow of the Colossus vibe that one machine had. Obviously, they're expanding to underwater environments, and again, like very Jaws-like and terrifying. I felt very claustrophobic being in that scene with Aloy. And I'm very pleased that Aloy is back as well. Like we discuss a lot on the show about whether she was going to return, but I think, Sony really has established her as one of PlayStation's biggest and strongest mascots, and I'm stoked to see her come back.
Yeah, I'm very curious to check out the setting and see what they do with the new hardware. That shot at the end had a little little Golden Gate Bridge peeking up there in the Transamerica building. So I think we're going to see a totally ruined San Francisco. Ruined in a much more imaginative way than it actually is. Now, shifting gears to the other coast, we also got a look at Spider-Man Miles Morales, which was how they kicked off the show, and all of us, collectively lost our S word over that. Jonathan, you were predicting some cool stuff from Insomniac. What did you make of this?
Yeah, I mean, we cursed quite a bit in our off live feed when that happened, because first off, just like what an intro that is for this showcase. That was such a smart, kind of unexpected thing, because I think a lot of us were sort of expecting Spider-Man 2 to come a little bit later. And I think there's a little bit of debate. I saw some conversation online of whether this will be proper Spider-Man 2 or if this is maybe something in between proper numbered sequels. It seems to be likely we're staying within Manhattan, obviously, but the focus will be on Miles, who everyone loved the bits and pieces of storytelling and character building we got from him in the first game, but this is clearly going to put him as the playable character. It's set during Christmas time, so that means they can probably keep people off the streets because it's cold in New York City and you got to stay inside because of the snow. But I like this first look looks gorgeous. Spider-Man is obviously one of the biggest PS4 exclusives, and to have this at holiday this year, like this is coming in if not on launch day, within that launch window for PS5, is probably going to be the biggest way they're going to sell this. Like whatever the price is, you want to play the next Spider-Man game. This was such a smart move to have.
I'm pretty excited about this. I think I get the sense that it's going to be sort of like a Uncharted Lost Legacy or Infamous First Light type of thing, where it's not, it's kind of a half measure, but not in a bad way. And it's going to be cool to see kind of that like side-by-side comparison of like, we all know what that version of New York looks like on PS4, and to jump into that on PS5 should be pretty cool. I imagine the snow will look very nice. Anyway, Brian, Resident Evil, you got real worked up on that one.
Oh my God, guys! Resident Evil 8. First of all, this is I think this might be my favorite reveal of the day, if not the year. Huge Resident Evil fan, as many of you are watching the show today, and even on the cast right here. Resident Evil 8 was a really, really wonderful surprise, despite having heard a lot of the rumors. Actually, seeing it come together in reality made me super happy. It looks like it's going back to a sort of like Resident Evil 4 style village mixed with the castle, mixed with like some cult elements, and then most importantly, werewolves, which is brand new for the franchise, unless it was in like some weird PS1 online only game that I missed. Who knows? And this game is sort of spiritual successor to Resident Evil 7, but also feels a lot more evocative to some of my favorite stuff from some of the more ancient Resident Evil games, like 4 specifically. Seeing that sort of like kind of rugged rural back area of the castle and the village and stuff like that coming together. Plus there's a little bit of mansion in there too. So it feels like it's ticking all the right boxes for like hardcore old school Resident Evil fans. And then obviously carrying a lot of the stuff that Resident Evil 7 brought to the table, which I think made me really, really happy. I just want to know if this is going to have VR support. Like where's PSVR 2? Obviously a lot of questions. I feel like you could make a white PSVR pretty easily, make it line up with everything in there. But yeah, cannot wait for this one.
Brian, I'm very excited for this as well. I mean, you touched on it, that it looks kind of old school. It straddles the line between old school and what, Resident Evil 7 brought to the table. But, it looks really eccentric. It's got that eccentric vibe to it, which I love from the old games. Like the characters already look completely off the wall. And I'm just so excited for that to return.
Yeah, I think that people don't give the Resident Evil franchise enough credit for like balancing campiness and horror at the same time. That's one of my favorite things about Resident Evil 4 is that it is sort of campy. It is very action movie, and a lot of the dialogue is funny and stilted. And even with this, like we saw with Chris showing up, and like that whole interaction was just like almost hilarious. But it just works. It just works. They just constantly find that balance. I cannot wait to explore this game.
I'm very excited about this. I love that we did have like rumors and leaks about how it's going to have werewolves and witches, and people are like, that sounds ludicrous. That sounds like Halloween decorations. And they're clearly leading into this kind of Grimm's fairy tale, almost a Bloodborne kind of gothic horror approach. We have a lot more to talk about, but we have to take a very quick break. If you just tuned in, we have a donation going. We are gathering donations for the World Health Organization's COVID-19 Response Fund, as well as the Bail Project. If you want to look at that, we've got links in the description, as well as you can go to donate.ign.com, kick in a few bucks. We have lots more Summer of Gaming and PlayStation 5, I almost said 5 breakdown right after this. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back.
Everybody loves watching a speedrun of their favorite game. But what if you got the opportunity to peek into the minds of the developers while they watch their games getting completely wrecked? That's exactly what happens in every episode of Game Devs React to Speedruns.
Yeah, you can do that. Oh my god!
We invite you to ride along with the developers as they react to, question, and enjoy some of the most skilled players exploiting and speeding through a game it took years of their life to create. Join us every Saturday for a new episode.
If you're not following IGN on social media, what are you waiting for? We're constantly updating our feeds to bring you the latest news, gameplay, custom original content, the best user-generated videos and art, memes, and a whole lot more. Be part of the conversation throughout the year. Follow IGN on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, TikTok, and Snapchat.
The next generation of video gaming is on the horizon, and IGN is here to bring you the latest PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X news and analysis in our new weekly show, Next Gen Console Watch 2020. We'll bring on the experts to discuss and analyze all the latest developments around these new consoles. From frame rates, services, features, peripherals, and even all the new tech jargon, Next Gen Console Watch 2020 will keep you up to speed on everything leading up to the next generation of gaming. Join us every Friday for a new episode.
News, games, and more is IGN's live news show every day of the week that covers all the day's news about games, movies, comics, and of course more. This is our daily live show that takes a rotating cast of IGN talent, going over all the latest news of the day while taking live questions and comments from chat. We're live every Monday through Friday at 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern, and you can find us on mixer.com/IGN, youtube.com/IGN, and twitch.tv/IGN. See you there.
Packing all of the things that happened in the big old Sony PlayStation 5 event, and it's always one of the more difficult things to form coherent sentences when you're all jazzed up and excited about cool new shiny things. There were a lot of games on that presentation. We saw a whole lot of them. One of the first ones, we got a chance to talk about Spider-Man Miles Morales a second ago. Insomniac apparently has been very busy. Jonathan, you're a big Ratchet & Clank fan. Tell us about this new one.
I'm so excited about this one. First of all, I want to give a huge shout out to Altano for his misreading of the subtitle of this game. Which, Brian, if you'd like to go ahead.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's called Ratchet & Clank Rips Apart, and I thought it said Rip Apart, and that's not probably not unintentional, because this franchise has a series of sort of innuendo-based titles like Up Your Arsenal and
Going Commando. Yeah, they like to do that. So I feel like this was a really great showing for a new Ratchet. It clearly, I think, was the best example of what we've heard about from Sony for the PS5's SSD, basically minimizing or erasing load times as we know them in current games. And you see the way that Ratchet is jumping from different environment to different environment. Other elements from other environments are coming in. He's able to sort of shift the reality like via these rifts around him. It seems to really be showing off that, hey, all this stuff is going to be instantaneous and it's going to still look beautiful. It's going to run well. Like, you don't need to worry about a load in between each of those rift jumps. I think this looks gorgeous. I think this was one of the smartest reveals to kind of showcase what is probably a hard thing to show off.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I also love there's a gun here that turns people into trees, I think, which is like pretty on brand for, that's new, yeah?
That's a new weapon as far as I know. It may have been in one of there's been a lot of Ratchet games, so I may not know exactly every weapon, but they always have wacky arsenals, and so I wouldn't be surprised. They said this is going to kind of take advantage of the DualSense. Again, we didn't really get a sense of that, for lack of a better term, but I'm excited to see how each of these weapons plays into the different adaptive triggers and the haptic feedback that the DualSense will have.
I could definitely see Insomniac getting silly with something that would be otherwise very gimmicky, but really just having fun with it. Also, if I hadn't played that last game, I would think that this was complete and utter, like, just fakery. Like, this looks so good, but like that last game also looked insanely good. So they know what they're doing over there. Now, on sort of the other end of the visual fidelity spectrum, one of the more weird, like, little indie games was Little Devil Inside. Brian, tell us about this.
Sure thing. Little Devil Inside is, I think, one of my favorite games we saw of the show so far today. It starts off basically looking. I thought this would be sort of like a 2D puzzle platformer, and what it turns into is what looks like something like an open world survival game with this very almost like 1960s claymation looking protagonist who is trying to make his way through the world with a gun and a bunch of weapons and taking on hordes of nightmarish creatures and monsters and going through incredible, really cool stylized environments and big nasty beasts. And this is my type of game. You know, these are the kind of games that I like to get lost in for 100 hours. I don't know if it had sort of Souls-like elements. It feels like it had some of that. We were sort of saying to each other during the show that it felt like sort of like a Souls-like for kids, but then there was actually a lot more darker thematic stuff in here, such as shooting the bear in the butt, which I'm a big fan of. It also seemed like it had a really good sense of humor. Like it continually cut back to like that old man kind of like hanging out. There's a restaurant or a store called Schmeat, which I guess is a butcher shop. So I don't know if this is like, it's hard to tell if this is like an old man is recanting his stories as a child adventure, or he sent a child out into the world to do his bidding.
I mean, but really, there's a lot to try to unpack here, and it's one of those games where it's pretty hard to make sense of what exactly it is you're doing. Fun thing about this is it's actually this wasn't a world premiere reveal. This has a Steam page that has been around since 2015 and was, I believe, a Kickstarter game. So it seems like, you know, Sony's been paying close attention and scooped up some projects that really like have been in the works for a while, but maybe haven't had the, you know, correct amount of hype associated with them. Another one that's also been kind of kicking around was Stray, which was the futuristic cyberpunk game where you're a cat wearing a backpack, which is cool.
Oh, Stray looked so good, good.
This was one of those games. If you go and follow HK Devblog on Twitter, Stray has been floating around for quite some time. It was one of those things where they're like, hey, here's a work in progress. It doesn't have a title. We don't have a release date. We don't know what it is. But it was these like cool little gifs of like a cat walking around in a world full of robots. And I was like, I would love to play this game. I wonder if it'll ever happen. Lo and behold, it's apparently happening. It's just kind of neat to see these projects actually get, you know, put front and center as more than tech demos or sort of, you know, arts and crafts stuff. Again, like, I don't know what this game is about, really. You're a cat. There's robots. Lucy, what do you think? What do you think you do?
Well, I mean, I don't know. It's like, for me, the aesthetic is so gorgeous and it's got cats in it. So those two things combined are very much, you know, up my alley. That's all I need to know right now. I really hope you do play as the cat. It's been like, you know, what was the last game you played as a cat in? It was that ghost detective game. It was a ghost detective game. You know the one.
Yeah.
Oh, I forgot. But anyway, like, I love the idea of actually playing as one of these little creatures in a world that is like full of like little avenues and little like hidey holes and labyrinthian environments and stuff. And I adore the look of this game.
I'm like pretty down on any game where you don't play as like a conventional humanoid thing, because I'm a humanoid every day. Like, I wake up and I'm like, oh, look at I have the 2 legs and the 2 arms, how ambular or whatever. But like, give me a video game where you're playing as like a quadruped or some sort of nonsense animal. Lucy, you mentioned the Ghost game that we forgot the name of. What about Ghostwire Tokyo? This is a new game. We got this revealed at E3 last year. This is from Shinji Mikami's studio. Tell us about it.
Yes, Tango. I just want to point out that the power of my hype for this game has actually killed one of my lights. So that's why that's why my blue light's suddenly gone. But look, it looked amazing. I did not expect this game to be first person. I didn't expect it to sort of be this amazingly cool cross between Control and Dishonored. It looks less like traditionally spooky than we've come to expect from Tango Gameworks, but at the same time, I think it's incredibly intriguing, and it's got some very cool little horror tropes in there as well. Of course, the headless schoolgirl and a sort of Slender Man type character. I think it's still kind of an unknown. It's slightly unknowable as to how you actually play this thing, but it just